The story takes place in America during a time when people are facing a severe water shortage. Desperation has reached the point where people are willing to kill each other for water. Most residents have abandoned the area, but Ernest believes that if he can secure enough water, he can grow trees again. With this hope, Ernest and his family decide to stay rather than leave. One day, two strangers attempt to break the lock on a small building on Ernest's farm. Ernest catches them to the act and immediately shoots them. One of the thieves tries to draw his gun, but Ernest is faster and takes him down. The second thief begs for his life, claiming he was told there was water hidden there. Before he can fire, Ernest kills him too. Ernest's son, Joram, expresses that he could have helped his father with his work. After this incident, Ernest checks the pump inside the building but finds no water. Disappointed, he and his family decide to leave the farm. On their way out, they encounter a group called the Watermen. This group extracts water from deep wells and sells it to city residents. Ernest trades goods to buy some water. He has been pleading with the waterman to supply water to his farm, but they always demand more money than he can afford. As they return home, their mule falls and is severely injured. To end its suffering, Ernest is forced to shoot the animal, which deeply saddens Joram. When they finally arrive home, Ernest's daughter Mary serves them a meal. After eating, Mary washes the utensils with clay. Ernest listens to the radio while Joram focuses on his drawings, and the day passes uneventfully. Later, Ernest hears a loud noise outside. When he investigates, he finds that Mary has been hiding to meet her boyfriend Flame. The next day, Ernest and Joram attend an auction where a man named Sam is selling a robot named Sim. Flame also bids on the robot. There is fierce competition between the two, but ultimately Ernest wins the bid, though it increases his debt. After the auction, they visit the hospital where Ernest's wife Catherine is admitted. Catherine is unable to walk due to an accident and requires an expensive machine to help her regain mobility. On their way back home, they meet a struggling couple, Robbie and Suge, who are overwhelmed with their children and considering giving them up. Ernest persuades them to keep their children, explaining that kids need their parents. Later, Ernest stops at a gas station to fill the car's tank. Exhausted, he mistakenly drinks some gasoline. Back home, Flame visits Ernest and proposes borrowing the Sim robot, promising to pay against it. But Ernest refuses, not trusting them. Enraged, Flame threatens Ernest before leaving. The next time Ernest meets the waterman, they discuss the possibility of delivering water to his farm because of the Sim robot. With renewed hope, Ernest begins digging a well on his farm to prepare for the waterman's inspection. On their way back, Ernest and Joram see Flame speeding off in his bike. When they arrive home, they discover that the Sim robot is missing. Ernest immediately suspects Flame and goes to confront Sam. Sam reveals that Flame has been in the mountains since morning. He also discloses that Ernest's farm used to belong to him and that Flame is still intent on reclaiming what he lost. Ernest heads to the mountains in search of Sim robot. Suddenly he is struck from behind and loses consciousness. When he wakes up, he finds himself surrounded by the Waterman gang. Caleb, the gang's leader, accuses Ernest of using Sim to steal their belongings. Ernest tries to explain, but Caleb attacks him, and a fight ensues. Despite the odds, Ernest manages to take Caleb's gun and knife, using them to defend himself and escape from the gang. While on the run, Ernest stumbles upon Flame, who is asleep. He discovers that Flame has been using Sim to transport stolen goods, setting Ernest up to take the blame. Quietly, Ernest points his gun at Flame and waits for morning. As dawn breaks, Ernest ties Flame to Sim and prepares to return the stolen goods to the waterman. During the journey, Flame taunts Ernest by repeatedly mentioning Mary's name. Exhausted and purged, Ernest falls for Flame's suggestion to drink some water. However, instead of water, Flame gives him liquor, a trap he had carefully planned. Drunk and disoriented, Ernest becomes vulnerable. Flame seizes the chance to throw a stone at him, knocking him unconscious. While unconscious, Ernest has flashbacks of Catherine's accident, which was caused by his struggle with alcohol addiction. When Ernest regains consciousness, Flame starts pouring alcohol into his mouth again, and Ernest tries to stop him, but Flame does not agree. Meanwhile, Flame heads to the farm to meet Mary. Mary is delighted to see Flame, but Joram, worried about Ernest's absence, decides to search for his father. Later that night, Joram finds Sim standing near the waterman gang's base. When he approaches the gang, they inform him that Ernest has died in an accident involving Sim. Joram is devastated by the news. On the day of the funeral, Mary returns home. She and Joram weep together for a long time. Afterward, they visit the hospital to deliver the tragic news to Catherine. After returning from the hospital, Flame meets Mary and Joram. He declares himself the new head of the family and promises to marry Mary. He also reveals that Mary is pregnant and tells Joram that he must help take care of her. Taking charge of the farm, Flame meets Caleb to discuss installing a pipeline to the land. Initially, Caleb refuses, but Flame threatens him and says that his own knife and gun were found near Ernest's dead body. Out of fear, Caleb says yes to him. Within a few days, a new hand pump is installed on the farm. Flame works tirelessly and soon crops begin to grow on the land. Seeing the progress, Flame and Mary decide to marry. On their wedding day, Flame reflects on Ernest's death while drinking. Shortly after, Sam arrives with two men to confront Flame. Sam informs him that Ernest had taken out a substantial loan for the farm and now that debt must be repaid. Flame tries to flee from Sam and his men using his motorcycle, but Sam warns him that if the loan isn't repaid, the bank can easily sell the farm. That night, Flame takes Robbie and his children to the market in a truck. There, without Robbie's consent, he sells his baby. When Robbie tries to reclaim the child, the buyer shot him. The next day, Flame deposits the money from selling the baby into the bank. Upon returning home, he lies to everyone, claiming he sold the Sim robot to Robbie. Meanwhile, Sim the robot finds his original owner Kelvin. After noticing Ernest's return on Sim, Kelvin calls the farm and Joram answers the call. Talking to Kelvin raises Joram's suspicions about Flame. Determined to uncover the truth, Joram plans a trip to the market. During dinner, he questions Flame about Robbie. Flame lies, saying Robbie cut ties with his family after buying Sim. Joram, however, remains unconvinced. Joram attempts to cross the border to investigate further, but he is stopped because he is underage. While at the border, he meets a woman named Anna who helped him cross for a fee. Anna hides Joram in a truck full of chickens and sends him to the city. Once there, Anna leads him to Kelvin's factory. At the factory, Kelvin shows Joram all of Sim's functions, revealing that Sim's eyes have a built-in camera that records everything. Kelvin plays the recordings and Joram finally learns the truth. Flame murdered his father, Ernest. The revelation shocks and devastates Joram. That evening, for the first time in years, it rains on the farm. After the rain, Joram returns home and acts as if everything is normal, ensuring that Flame doesn't suspect anything. He even tells Flame that the Sim robot is in the garage, fabricating a false story to gain his trust. One day, Joram and Flame go hunting. Flame repeatedly misses his targets, blaming the gun's malfunction. He hands the gun to Joram, who successfully hunts a deer. Joram then hides the gun to ensure Flame can't use it. The following day, Flame receives a letter supposedly from Robbie, written by Joram. The letter invites Flame to meet in the hills. When Flame attempts to retrieve his gun, he discovers it has been sent for repairs. He sets out with only a knife. On his way to the hills, Flame falls into a pit and is severely injured. As he screams for help, he sees Joram standing above him. Realizing Joram knows the truth, Flame begins pleading for his life. Tired of Flame's pleas, Joram shoots him, killing him. When Joram returns to the farm, he tells Mary that Flame has abandoned them. Taking responsibility, Joram begins managing the farm and plans to purchase the machine needed for Catherine's treatment. Joram erases Sim's recordings to eliminate evidence of Flame's crimes. Gradually, life on the farm improves. After enduring tremendous struggles, Joram and Mary revive the farm, and here the story ends. So friends, how did you like the story? Do tell us in the comments box. And for this movie explanation, please subscribe to Movie Recap English. See you in the next movie. Till then, bye bye. Take care.